Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bass 2 Anglers. We're going to start this episode off with some breaking news. The time has come for a governing body to step in and oversee this sport that we all love so much. Who are these bass commissioners, you might ask? Today's episode is kind of a part two to our last interview. If you've never had a chance to listen to Boyd Duckett talk about rod building, this is going to be a special treat.
Yeah, that is a good question. I guess one of the things that surprised me, because in the rod and reel manufacturing business, those products cycle for all manufacturers. People like to see something new come to the marketplace. Yeah, so Keith, one of the most fun things over the past couple of years, with all the other stuff going on, we talked about Major League Fishing and all that time, but moving into the lure manufacturing business at Duckett Fishing has really been a blast.
We'll get those Life Is zipting clips, strap down those rods, and stow away those tackle bags because we are going fishing. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bass 2 Anglers podcast. I'm your host, Keith Nicewanger, and I hope this episode finds you with 5 for 25 in your live well. We're going to start this episode off with some breaking news. I always wanted to say that. Breaking news. With so many different tournament organizations out there, each with their own set of rules, the time has come for a governing body to step in and oversee this sport that we all love so much. The Bass Commissioners is a new weekly live broadcast that discusses the issues of the day that affect the sport that you and I love so much. This show will identify injustice wherever it may be, and yes, it will provide binding resolutions to these issues that the tournament organizations are most likely going to just ignore. Who are these Bass Commissioners, you might ask? Well, yours truly, Keith Nicewanger, host of the Bass 2 Anglers podcast and big-time fanboy of professional fishing, and Patrick Schaefer, who is also a self-described fan of the sport of tournament bass fishing. So, basically, a couple of fans of the sport that want to see things done correctly, want to see things turn out positive for all bass tournament fishing organizations, and we will be the voice of reason for this sport of bass fishing. How did these guys become the Bass Commissioners? Well, they just became the Bass Commissioners. The Bass Commissioners are self-proclaimed, very opinionated, and always right. How's that for confidence? The Bass Commissioners will air live on Instagram on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Give it a chance. It's going to be a lot of fun. Special thanks to our partners who make this podcast possible. Bassco Fishing is the official wardrobe of the Bass 2 Anglers podcast. Today I am still wearing the Spongy Splatter SPF 30 hooded sun shirt. Be sure to check out all the colors and styles by going to bassgofishing.com. Of course, you know by now that we are the Western representatives for Duckett Fishing, pro-driven rods, reels, and baits. You know these guys, the strongest pro staff in all professional tournament fishing. And it is the same ingenuity, same on-the-water experience that goes into all the pro-driven products that Duckett Fishing produces. Find out about the Duckett lineup of pro-driven rods, reels, and baits by going to their website, duckettfishing.com. In our last episode, Boyd Duckett gave us an inside look at the changes taking place at Major League Fishing. If you missed it, the link is in the description portion of this video. Duckett answered all the questions that you wanted to hear. He didn't hide from anything we asked him. The good news is now you don't have to make up rumors, inject drama to the stories that you tell. You can simply check out the video because all the big questions are answered. Today's episode is kind of a part 2 to our last interview. Duckett Fishing is releasing a new line of rods, and Boyd is going to talk about these new rods. If you've never had a chance to listen to Boyd Duckett talk about rod building, this is going to be a special treat. He is very, very good at the art of rod building, and I don't think he gets enough credit in the fishing world for the ingenuity that goes into these products. But in this interview today, make sure that you listen to what he says, because he's got endless amounts of information and knowledge about not only rod building, but lure building as well. But first, if you like the content we produce, hit the subscribe button. Like this video. It's a simple request. We ask that you subscribe and like. Share the video with a friend. Share the video with your next door neighbor. Share the video with a complete stranger. But share the video. As always, leave us a comment. We'd love to know what our subscribers think of the content that we have. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We'd love to hear ideas for things that you'd like to see in the future. Hit that subscribe button. I'll play a little guitar for you. Hit it now. Do it. Subscribe. Hey, thank you very much. Your subscription means a lot. We are building our viewership, and your subscription means a lot to us. Thank you for doing that. Here is Boyd Duckett talking about the new Zeus lineup of rods, as well as some other additions to the Duckett lineup. I want to shift gears because Duckett Fishing has always been on the cutting edge of rod and reel and lure development. I understand 2023 has got some a new line of rods coming out. Can you talk a little bit about it? I just saw a press release today on that.
Yeah, we've got the new Zeus series of rods. We've been, let's see, this past year, I think we added some things that all the bass guys, did get real excited about our 22 launch. We had some saltwater rods that we put in place, some upgrades on our crappie line. We launched a walleye series, but we don't get a ton of coverage from mine and your fans, about that. But we have worked for, almost 2 years now on this Zeus series of rods, coming in at $139 price point. It's right in the sweet spot where everybody can afford, and it's unbelievable, man. I mean, I'm really proud of what they are. It's a super cool looking rod, which is important today in product sales. But more importantly, weight and balance, sensitivity, all the things we work towards. And it's also a mid-size guided rod. I don't think there's any full-size guided rods anymore. Guides just keep getting smaller, but it's not a micro-guided rod. It's that mid-size guided rod that sort of fits all applications for everybody. So we're real excited about it, and I think it's going to do good, man. They feel good.
That's very exciting, and I'm I have seen a couple of these, and I
Yeah.
know that color is going to be is going to catch the industry by surprise. I don't think anybody's got anything that that looks like that. Let's just leave it at that and let people will discover it when they see it.
Yep.
Um, I've always wanted to ask you this question, but it may be like asking you, what your favorite child is. But I was going to ask you what products are you most impressed with in terms of how well they have responded to in the market? Whether it's rods, reels, or baits, what are some of the things that either surprised you or you knew it was going to be received this way?
Yeah, that is a good question. I guess one of the things that surprised me because in the rod and reel manufacturing business, those products cycle for all manufacturers. People like to see something new come to the marketplace. You see us launch generally a new series and some additionals in other series every year. You'll see us come with new products. But one of the things that's interesting is the original Micro Magic rod
Yes.
from 2009. Okay.
Yeah.
The volume we still sell of that rod and the time, obviously that was our first series of rods. It's at $150 price point, and we've made improvements over time. Improved our guides from way back in the old days. The particular models, it could be one of the best series of rods we have, especially at its price point, mostly because I've had, 12 or 13 years to work on anything that didn't work right in the series, which I have spent a lot of time working on actions, everything. It's been a while since we've done that, but it does surprise me that 13 years later, we're still selling a high volume of those rods, well worth continuing to manufacture them. And so that's one surprise.
Well, I was gonna say that the new ones are telescoping in the long sizes. You know, I like to fish a 7 and 10 or a 7-11 a deep crank rod and for A rigs and stuff like that. Now I can get one without having to pay double or triple the freight on the doggone things.
I know it. We actually have shifted all manufacturing of all of our product lines over 7.6. We'll go to that blank to blank telescoping system. To explain so everybody knows this isn't a junky deal that wrecks your program. Basically, what we've done is we cut the rod blank so that we have a 6 or 7 inch piece that we're after the rod is poured on the mandrel, we simply make the next cut 7 inches above it. So the ID exactly fits because it's two rods put together. So when you pull it out, it's in perfect contact. You can't be wrong because it came off the same mandrel. When we create the rod, you can't tell the difference between it and one that was a single piece. And obviously, we did it just like you said. The shipping cost, if I send an independent rod, a single rod, customer orders, we do a lot of direct online, ducketfishing.com. And but the surcharge, because UPS and the shipping companies, I don't know their business model, but man, they've gone up a lot. And the surcharge got upwards to $100 for a fishing rod if it's over 7.6 because of the tube length required. Well, that's just not reasonable. You buy a rod for $150 and you got to pay $100 to ship it. It's not going to work for us, and it's no good for the customer. So being able to push that back in, we were able to keep our shipping down in that $25 range, which is our standard, and solve that problem. But I'm really proud of the fact that the rod feels the same, it performs the same. You still get the full transfer of energy, for sensitivity. That system works really well. So.
And you know what? It's going to fit in a guy's live. It's going to fit in a guy's rod locker in his boat.
Yeah,
Where that maybe it's going to fit. It's going to fit in your
yeah.
rod locker. That's
I
all there
think
is to
I
it.
think a 710 cuts down to like a 7.2 now.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
stuff them in there. I like that too. I've got a big 21-foot Camus, and I can put full size rods in it, but still managing an 8-foot rod. When you push it down, and you get in that 7172, it's a whole lot easier to cram them in there.
Wanted to talk a little bit about the website because the Duckett line is available on the entire Duckett line is available on duckettfishing.com. I'm going to guess that internet sales are becoming more and more important to a company like yours.
We love our retailers, and that's our primary push is to move product through the retailers that help sell and explain and help manage our product. Unfortunately, we don't have a retailer everywhere. There's somebody.
Yeah.
So to not sell direct to consumer would just cut you out a part of your business, make it where somebody couldn't put their hands on. So that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But yes, it's grown as the company has grown, our direct online sales. But but we still it's still cheaper to go to your independent retailer, the box store, your choice, and buy it, because you will have to pay the $25 freight, to buy it through us.
Mm-hmm. Duckett's got some interesting partnerships with some lure companies. I've seen some frogs and some rattle type baits. Talk a little bit about those partnerships you have with other lure companies.
Yeah, so Keith, one of the most fun things over the past couple of years, with all the other stuff going on, we talk about Major League Fishing and all that time, but moving into the lure manufacturing business at Duckett Fishing has really been a blast. It's just a lot of fun to create lures. It's greatly rewarding when they catch them. It's extremely disappointing when you work on something and you build it and it doesn't catch them. And that happens. I mean, that happens, a lot, and it's just trial and error. But running through that process has been really a blast to try to create, top line tournament tackle, good hooks, split rings, finishes, etc. But in the process, got a couple of really good partners. Molex, like on that frog, they have some products that we are exclusive to the U.S. that we package under Duckett Fishing. So we have a great partnership with Molex on some of the products that we wanted to carry. And then I'll tell you the story about the Duckett trap. So, and everybody that knows me at all knows that I throw a rattle trap as much or more than anybody. Won a bunch of money on it. And as we grew up in the lure business, starting back 4 years ago, we started piddling, but really 3 years. And we're creating all these baits, and we're starting to gain momentum, and that is the fastest growing part of our business right now. So we're really pleased with what we're doing with lures. My retailers kept asking for a rattle bait, and I'm like, man, I'm going to throw a rattle trap because I've been through the cycle. I've done it. I'm just not going to not throw a rattle trap. And so for me to make one and throw something else wouldn't work. We continue to get pressure. We had a couple of bigger retailers that pushed, and Larry's like, we're going to have to do something about a rattle boat. So I called Wes Higgins, president of Rattle Trap, and I said, Wes, I'm between a rock and a hard place. I need to make a lipless crankbait. I don't want to throw something other than a rattle trap. I have no idea if you'd even consider this, and I don't even think I finished. And he said, hey, we'll just build it for you. You design it, we'll build it. And that was the great. And so I've had a blast with that. So we use that, that rattle trap shape. It's what I want to do. But as long as we were doing it, the change in sound, and rattle trap has done that through the year between one knockers. The standard rattle trap is a 24 shot bait, okay, to get the sound that you're familiar with. So I was looking for something deeper. I throw, baits that are one knocker, two knocker style baits, and ended up landing on an 8-shot trap, which has a completely different sound. And man, it's worked well for us, man, here around Guntersville. And it may just be because it's something I haven't heard, Okay, yeah. That's probably the bigger part of it, but we're really doing well with that. So, being able to design our own Duckett trap, it's exclusive to us, all the colors except 46R, which was a major contributor to me winning the Classic. I have a soft spot. I had to build that one color, and Wes let me do that. Okay, so, but other than that, the rest of them are all exclusive to Duckett Fishing. But that's a fun story, of us in the industry working together. When you get to be, when you get a little older in this business, like you and I, there's a lot of relationships that we have, and it makes it fun, right?
Absolutely. Well, Boyd, I appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon. I know that you are very busy, and I just very thankful that you're willing to come in and talk about the things. And I don't think I've ever asked you a question that you've ducked. You always answer them straight on, and I appreciate that.
Man, I'm not a very secretive person, and I always try to. There's no question that I'm ashamed to answer, and I always just try to tell you like it is. Everybody doesn't want to hear it, but you got to tell it like it is because I can't change how it is. So I might as well tell you like it is.
That's absolutely right. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Take care, and we'll talk to you again soon. If this video came across as a commercial, understand that there is going to be product placement in everything you see on YouTube. Nothing goes without some product placement. Yes, Duckett Fishing is a part of this podcast. And you better believe when there are new products out there, we're going to be the first to talk about them. So there you go. The real value in this video, however, is listening to a guy that really knows a lot about rod building and lure development talk about his craft. You might want to go back through and watch this again because some of the things that Boyd says about building rods are so profound that you might have missed it, but some really, really good stuff. You're also maybe going to want to go back and check out that rattle trap story because that's a pretty good story too. If you have any questions about the Duckett lineup of pro-driven products, I invite you to DM us on Instagram or leave a comment at the end of this video. Just a reminder, you're going to want to check out the Bass Commissioners Thursdays at 9 p.m. Central Time. A lot of good tournament talk and resolutions to the issues that plague our sport today. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Bass to Anglers podcast. Thanks again for stopping by. Until next time, keep both hands on the wheel, keep those life vests zipped and clipped, be safe, and we'll talk to you again very soon.